Hello again. We learned from the newspapers that a bunch of people in prison, accused variously of sabotage at an RAF base and other offences, are intent upon starving themselves to death. They all of them have names such as Hiba Maraisi, Jueta Hoja, and Kamran Ahmed. In other words, they are Albanians, Pakistanis, and other nationalities. Obviously, it would be regrettable if they were to die, but I really don't see that it is up to us to deter them. We are all of us free to commit suicide if we wish. Meanwhile, on the streets of the capital, more foreigners are protesting about the hunger strike and also about events in a foreign country a long way away. Among these protesters is the ghastly Greta Thunberg, who now seems to be a full-time professional protester. She left school at 15 and has never had a job, so I suppose she isn't qualified to do much else, really. Last night she was arrested for sitting down in the street and holding a poster mentioning Palestine Action. Meanwhile, a couple of other foreigners, two men called Walid Saadoui and Amr Hussein, have been convicted of planning a massacre of Jews in Manchester, again in connection with events in a foreign country. I'm seeing a pattern here, which might be summed up as foreigners making a nuisance of themselves in this country and kicking up a fuss about things happening in another continent. I think that is probably a fair summary of the situation. The question really is, why on earth are we putting up with all this? If Greta Thunberg wants to complain about Israel, then surely she could do so in her own country. Why does she have to come to our country to do it? The same applies to that ragbag assortment of rootless foreigners who are currently attempting to end their lives in British prisons. What are they doing in this country? If all these people feel so strongly about what's going on in Israel, why don't they go and protest there? Why does it have to be our country which puts up with them? The same applies to the men convicted of planning a massacre of Jews. Surely they too could go to Israel if they wished to fight and kill Jews. Over the last 2 years, I've noticed that foreigners complaining about things happening in foreign countries have become a bit of a nuisance here, and I wouldn't be sorry to see the back of them. I simply do not see why this country should be the stage upon which all the world riffraff choose to strut. If only our police forces could invest in one or two useful items like water cannons and tear gas, they might be able to put us to this kind of thing once and for all.